Hey everyone, so finally made it online. So apologies for being late. Um, TIA, for those of you who do not know what TIA means, it means this is Africa. And this is Africa in Khartoum in very difficult times, as most of you know who are following me, is happening. You know, like Khartoum is going through, or Sudan is going through a revolution, and which makes things a lot more difficult than they usually are. So, welcome on the live stream, something which I'm going to try to do a little bit more often. So the plan is to do this weekly. First of all, to also encourage you to participate in what we're doing, but for you to be able to participate, you obviously have to know what we're doing. So the idea here this year is that whatever we've been doing last year, we're obviously continuing in Port Sudan and in Khartoum and in the world, on the world stage with the volunteers of the IADP. And the idea is that we really inform you about our projects, or I will inform you, my volunteers and I will, you know, gather a bit what we're doing during the week, and on a weekly basis, I'll let you know what is really going on, what are we doing, the hurdles that we face, eventual little questions that we have or that you might actually help us with. I always believe the internet could be something positive if used well, instead of just TikToking and that kind of stuff. We want to use the internet positively, and even though we're in Khartoum or in Port Sudan, as is the case now, we have your support and support from volunteers worldwide. And definitely, before I forget, I want to thank all the volunteers that make this possible. But I'll get into that a little bit later, so please remind me if I don't forget. So I'm in Khartoum, and let me just make this a little bit smaller. While I talk, we can watch a little bit of pictures from Khartoum. So I arrived in Khartoum around the 12th of December, and the idea obviously in Khartoum was to finally bring more recognition to the work we're doing in Port Sudan, and obviously also fundraising. Yeah, that was the main idea. So, so first of all, after having worked for largely like 6-7 months in Port Sudan, it was quite nice to come to Khartoum. You know, a little bit of change of scenery. It's a large city, so you have a bit more amenities down there, etc. And also just to catch up with some old friends I hadn't seen, which, you know, for everyone in the world during Corona, we've all lost touch a bit with people we like and people we're befriended with. So it was really good in the beginning to be here. And last year, obviously, in December, the situation was not as it was now. So today's show, I'm going to talk about the following. First of all, I'm going to give you a rundown of what we're doing in Khartoum and what's been happening so far. Then I'm going to be answering some questions I've received from fans and followers in the last weeks and months, which I was not able to answer, so I'll do that. Questions ranging from, am I married? What the frag are you doing in Sudan? We all want to leave this country. That's pretty much what I hear a lot. And one of the main questions I had was our stance on the events transpiring now in Sudan. And let me see, which other question did I receive as well? Okay, and the state of the Red Sea, obviously very important question. So let's start with the start. So first of all, my trip to Khartoum. So as you can see from the slideshow there, the Khartoum is a city approximately 600-700 kilometers from Port Sudan. I've just received a notice that my internet's almost finished, so I hope I'm going to be able to finish this show. So Khartoum is the capital of Sudan, and Sudan is one of the most impoverished countries in the world. I always, compare it a little bit to the Balkans of, Eastern Europe, where we have different religions coming together, different cultures, different languages, and this entire melting pot. It's like Sudan is like a little bit where Africa meets the Middle East, I would say. North Africa is really like, which identity do we have? Are we Africans, which they generally are, or are they Middle Eastern? So Khartoum is a large city, capital, and as I previously mentioned, I wanted to get awareness for what we're doing, so I had to turn from adventure mode into city mode, dress up, meet up with some friends, which have been really, really nice. I mean, I'm actually staying in a huge mansion for free while I'm doing a side activity for it. But so I dressed up and I started reaching out to all these embassies. And so first up was the French embassy, as you just saw, and I met Her Excellency Madame Raja Arabia, which was really a very good meeting. She was very knowledgeable as an ambassador. She was very knowledgeable about the Red Sea. She had obviously also stayed in Egypt, or she had worked in Egypt, which made our conversations a bit easier. And basically, the meeting was really great. She pledged her support in 2022. So we will be receiving some donations from the embassy. And that was really a good meeting, and we're still working on projects to elaborate some projects and cooperation there. They were quite happy to know that there's people like our volunteers, Olivier, etc., and myself in Port Sudan, which gave them a bit like more of reliability on what's happening down there. So that was really a great meeting. That meeting opened some other doors, and as you could see from the previous picture, I also met dignitaries from the Dutch embassy. Another woman, Her Excellency Ambassador Van Duren. Again, very good meeting, a very knowledgeable ambassador about the Red Sea state. And I'll tell you something quite important is that, for the moment, the Red Sea inhabitants have a Damocles sword hanging above them. And when I say Damocles sword, it's really a Damocles sword of unimaginable proportions. As you know, war has been raging in Yemen for years now, a country which I also personally visited in the 90s and worked in. And what we have there, we have this huge tanker which is outside of Hodeida, which is actually just across the pond. I mean, well, not just across, but across the pond from the Red Sea, from Sudan. And this tanker is full of oil and has been deteriorating over the last 7 years because it's unmanned and it's starting to leak. And so Ambassador van Duren was telling me that she's been on this committee who's trying with the UN to get the Houthi rebels to, to agree to international commissioners, etc., to go on the ship to see the state of the ship and to also, find solutions for that oil, that crude oil that's there. I mean, if that crude oil if this situation is really not sorted very soon, we might have a catastrophe on our hands, which would affect pretty much the entire Red Sea. But this is going to be a different stream, which we'll discuss at a later period. But so I was quite enthralled to know that these ambassadors really know what they're doing. Actually, sorry to put it this way, but so that was quite good. Again, the Dutch embassy is obviously a much smaller country than France, so their financial possibilities here are much less than larger countries such as France. However, as you can see here, pictured with Her Excellency Van Duren, they were very positive as well, and we're looking at ways on how to cooperate. Obviously, the events here in Sudan currently are overshadowing everything we do. And so now I'll go over to the next part. So let's start with the first questions. Are you married? I'm unhappily divorced since a very long time, and I'm not excluding children or marriage again. But anyway, it's not really a priority for me, and thanks for the interest, but I pretty much have holes everywhere, and I'm just too much of an idealist and driven by passion to be able to shack up with someone, and then again finding someone that shares my adventure lifestyle would be quite difficult. So next question, what the frag, and this is exactly how I received it, what the frag am I doing in Sudan? Well, I think we have to backtrack a little bit. The people, friends and people, fans and followers that know me, you know that my roots are in the Red Sea pretty much. I mean, after growing up in the Caribbean for a while, I moved to the Red Sea in 92. And there's pretty much not a lot of places in the Red Sea which I don't know. And, although I remember in 92, I hated Egypt compared, this shock from Caribbean to Egypt was just, like so much different. It was like an ice bucket challenge, right? However, the Red Sea just, it just made me dream. After having already worked for 4 or 5 years as a professional diver in Curacao, as a fish catcher and a captain, it was just, let me put this slideshow one more time. It was just, like an amazing sea to dive in. These soft corals, the colors, the wealth of corals, of colors, of fauna and flora have always done it for me. And so, I just stayed. So now we have to understand a bit the development of the Red Sea. So when I worked in 92, I was one of the first safari dive guides, I remember, and captains in south of Egypt, and before really that rush of liveaboards that came there. And so I've been really used to exploration, go dive on areas where no one has dived before, unmapped, etc. And the wealth of life you meet there underwater is just so amazing. So the more I got into this explorer spirit, the less I was entrailed by mass tourism. Mass tourism, which is really coming from the north of the Red Sea towards the south. And so divers all know, and you know, it's pretty much ingrained in the divers that the more southern you go, the better the Red Sea becomes, and it is really true. So I came to Sudan in 2006, worked and lived in a tent for a few years, built a small resort here, worked in the marine parks, consulted for different organisms, did commercial diving, and it is also here that I really decided, okay, well, you know, there's a chance to do something in Sudan. It's not overladen with, you know, there's no development whatsoever on the 600 kilometers or the 700 kilometers of coastline of Sudan on the Red Sea are pretty much empty, besides the Bashir gas terminal, which is between Serwakin Island and Port Sudan, and between the agglomeration of Port Sudan, which has 1.5 million inhabitants or something. Outside of that, it's pretty much empty. You have a few tribes left and right, a few villages, but that's pretty much it. So everything needs to be done, and we have a chance to do it the right way. I mean, instead of going through an evolution of pollution and you know, destruction before we rebuild it, here we're actually able to you know, put hopefully the infrastructure totally in order. So let me see if I can change. So I'm going to go on the next part of our little thing. I'm gonna put a small, while we talk about the Red Sea, why don't I put a small slideshow. So while I'm talking, yeah, what am I doing? What the frick am I doing in Sudan? So yeah, I mean, I've worked here before. People know me. I know the people and the customs, and basically, you know, I know the language, and you know, there's a certain trust factor between the locals living in Port Sudan and some people in Khartoum and myself, and I just enjoy being in the Red Sea. So the wealth of the nature, the biosphere, the fauna, the flora is just so overwhelming, and you know, somebody's got to do it. So I hope I answered that question. So first question I received, let me check because my head's a bit in my ass. Third question I received, okay, here we go. So the third question I received was, I can't even find the questions anymore, and I've forgotten which one it was. I said it just like now. Okay, anyone in the chat which can help me there? Um, so we're still streaming. Everything's okay. Sorry, I'm checking because we've got some issues with the internet lately. You know, we get power cuts. Oh yeah, how do the question? How do I fare in Khartoum or in Sudan, generally speaking? Well, you know, I mean, again, you know, being able to speak Arabic and Sudanese Arabic just helps me around. My experiences in Sudan are generally really good. People are really nice, very friendly once you know them. And once you know them, they give you a lot of friendship, which you would not receive in other countries. I love getting out of my apartment, and before I even did 300 meters, I greeted my neighbors and people around, and it's just very friendly, which I love. Okay, so results on, I really apologize for tonight's seemingly chaotic live stream, but we've been having really some issues here. Okay, all right, here we go. The question, what do we do? So the two questions I received as well is, when are you pulling out of Sudan because of the political situation? First of all, I'm apolitical. We are not mingling, or I will, or my employees or colleagues, we are not mingling into the internal politics of the country. We are here to support the coastal communities and the environment. Hey Didier, how are you doing? So that is really our stance. We stay neutral. We are working with the Red Sea University in Port Sudan. And, our duties are to the environment and to the local people. I've also subsequently had another question, or somebody, falsely accused me, said, "Oh, you're supporting the current government." Again, I'm apolitical. I don't mingle into political process. I don't even mingle in the political process in Belgium, my own country. So why would I mingle? Hey, Tino Bianco. Jesus, that's a long time. Hey, Phil. Thanks for joining the live stream. Tino, it is not difficult to start a business over there. Not at all. So you're welcome, and you always have a place in my apartment. Mi casa es tu casa, Tino. It's good to see your presence. So I don't know, where was I now? Sound is coming and going. Okay. It might be because of I don't know. Shall I perhaps switch to the iPhone itself? Let me see.
How's that for sound? Didier, how's that for sound? Perfect. Hey, Philip, nice of you to join. Olivier, also nice. So Olivier is my colleague and volunteer in Port Sudan. So it's okay now. So this Bluetooth is really not working. So gone. All right. So much better for the year anyway. So yeah, again, so political process, we're not going to play into that. We just hope that the bloodshed will soon stop, and that there is going to be some way forward. And again, I'm going to be very quiet and silent. It is not me to comment on the current situation. Zip it. So, all right. So are we pulling out of Sudan? No, we're not. So that was one of the last questions I received. Are we pulling out of Sudan? Why would we? Is it worse or is it better? I don't know, man. I mean, Didier is saying the sound is better now. Olivier is saying it, and Tino is saying the sound is worse now. Shall I put the camera a little bit closer, perhaps? This will help. How's that now? Okay, so Sudan, we're not pulling out unless safety of my colleagues and I is put in jeopardy. I've been now for a month in Khartoum, and I can't wait to leave, honestly speaking. Okay, thanks for the sound check, boys. So yeah, no, we're staying here. I've been now in Khartoum, and although there's demonstrations pretty much every day, and the city's like on lockdown every second day, it's still. I'll get to that question in a minute, Philip. It is still, quite safe. You just avoid going to the demonstrations, etc. Port Sudan is much quieter. There is some peaceful demonstrations, unlike Khartoum where there's bloodshed. So, anyway, Philip, the dive center is not mine. First of all, so for those of you who don't know, the project we're doing in Port Sudan is together with the Red Sea University. So they had a dive center there, or a dive operation, which would function for the marine science and fisheries faculty and department with some boats, but due to the complications of the country, due to the impoverished state and more malpractice in management of the country, obviously most of these things were not working. I'm gonna come into in a minute. I'll show you some pictures of the dive center. The dive center is for the moment not operating. We are planning on opening soft in February, but it is not your average dive center that people can come and do holidays with us. Our main concern this year is still building up the infrastructure, building up the educational infrastructure, and creating the Red Sea Marine Academy and Experimental Research Center concept, which I devised last year. So the main purpose of that center is to really educate the local people. The faculty members will receive free diving, free marine courses by colleagues and other consultants like me that have already given me a heads up that they would like to come and help. But so the courses will be varying from recreational diving, your average SSI dive courses, dive professional courses, NAUI courses, but we'll also elaborate. I've been working last year on 4 new curriculums, one which is for the marine park rangers, so it's a training I'm building expressly for marine park rangers worldwide. Secondly, it's obviously pro diver courses, and then thirdly, now we have some colleagues working on public safety diving courses and scientific diving courses. So marine biology courses are running in the school. So let's go back a little bit to where I wanted to go. So the IADP, International Association of Dive Professionals, as some of you know, is a project that we've been working on for quite a while. In my case, 14 years now, and we are that close of now getting registered as a non-profit organization in Belgium. So as we speak now, 2 teams are working. Team number 1 is the legal team. They're working on finishing the articles of association. Myself, I remained a founding partner, but I've pulled back out of the board, as I'm also working, so there is no for the organization, so there is no conflict of interest anymore. All the projects we are running in Port Sudan are being supported by the IADP, and as I said, it's we're on the verge. I mean, next on the 30th, which is next Sunday, we have normally the Board of Directors ratifying the updated Articles of Association, which will then be entered into in Belgium and registered there. And before I forget, I'd like to reach out to Cédric, Olivier, and Didier Coilin. There's Olivier Coilin and Didier Coilin, who have been really diligently working on getting these Articles of Association in a new form that would be acceptable by Belgium. So that's really, really a good job there. And okay, Philip. So that's really going on, and I'll get back to that on the next live stream, hopefully next week. I'll give you an update on that project. So next part, let's go and have a look at the RSMA project. So, and Philip is sending me a lot of questions, so let me see. How about the marine biology courses, etc.? Well, obviously the Faculty of Marine Science and Fisheries and ourselves, together with Ocean Burmers, the IADP, and GoPlu crew, we are working on obviously new educational plans, but also reinforcing existing educational plans, so marine biology courses, scientific diver courses, as I mentioned before. So do you intend to establish a marine zoning area like HEPCA has in Egypt? Very good question, and I'll answer directly on this. Is basically the following. We are currently, first of all, there is already marine parks, and actually we already have the Sanganep Atoll, which is part of is UNESCO World Heritage Site. So there is marine reserve areas like Sanganep here, which is near to Port Sudan, the Sanganep Atoll, which is the only atoll in the Red Sea, and it's like 20 miles outside of Port Sudan. Then secondly, there is the Dunganap and Mukawar Island Marine Park, which is 350 kilometers north. There are some plans and some organizations working together on trying to get that area between Dunganap and Sanganep to become also a nature reserve. But, you know, again, due to the current crisis in the country, whatever is politics, whatever is ministerial decrees, it's just everything is on standby. So, you know, we don't even know where we're going here with this. So basically, yeah, these marine parks are already there, and they are for the protection of the wildlife, fauna, and flora. However, what I can tell you already now, Philip, is obviously that, you know, it's nice to have protection, but if it's not enforced, what do you do? So basically that's the main issue here, like the marine park rangers as well. They usually don't even have the benzene or something to go on station, or they don't have the resources to really do their job correctly. And this is something that we're going to try to remedy this year, both for the for the Red Sea Marine Academy, as also for the marine park ranges, etc. But we have to understand that, you know, the laws, some of the laws are set in place, but just this infrastructure is just so impoverished. It's very difficult to work with. But yeah, that's our intention, protecting the wildlife. Well, good to know, Philip. Good to know. So I've reached out to NEOM a few times, to be honest with you, but I think I haven't received any response from NEOM so far. I'm guessing that, you know, they're a bit less interested in, they're probably quite busy with their project there in Saudi Arabia. So let's have a look at the RSMA, and for this I'm just gonna quickly go and show you some pictures for the people that haven't seen us yet. So currently I'm in the process of training. So a lot of people, I have some volunteers that are working there, as you can see there. So this is the Red Sea Marine Academy. So first of all, I have to train staff, people that are working together with me or working for a faculty, and then also some volunteers from Port Sudan themselves, where I basically tell them, listen, I'll teach you for free, but you have to come on a regular basis and spend some time in the center and just help us out, because I mean there's not a lot we can do. So slowly we're getting some training done, and honestly speaking, already some good results with some people. We had a few volunteers which actually couldn't swim, and basically we took care of that. So yeah, I'm a bit the coach there, so people start calling me coach, yeah, it's quite nice. It's quite rewarding as well. I mean, you know, getting people to actually endorse the water and you know, and loving the water, while in the beginning they were just like really apprehensive. Some of them were really fearful. So I'm really enjoying getting back to teaching, and yeah, results are really gratifying. So yeah, what we're doing, we've also started in October. We started a biodiversity restoration project. So we have this great area in front. We basically have 60,000 square meters. There's another video where I depict this area. Just go and check on my blog. Right, 60,000 square meters, and basically we have two shores. We have a northern beach and a southern beach. And on both parts now we're doing rehabilitation, so we're doing a biodiversity restoration project. That means that at this point we're really much cleaning. That's pretty much first phase. Before you start your gardening, you have to clean your garden. The same thing what we're doing there. So I think in the last year we managed to get to get about 7 tons, I think, in total of trash over 6 months out of the water, and mainly by me, because I was the only one who could dive at that point. So Okay, enough of these training pictures. Let's have a look at some other pictures. So perhaps here the cleanup. So that's together with volunteers, you know, we're like, this is the northern shoreline. So we're basically cleaning on a daily basis. We need to clean because on a daily basis, a lot of trash is coming there. So we're also having to find ways to catch the trash before it really, you know, at its origin. And we pretty much well know where that trash originates from. So, yeah, a lot of, I'm just going to fast forward a little bit so you can't see my belly. No, I'm joking. I'm much fitter now. So, yeah, the center, thanks to the volunteers, we've already cleaned so much, and yeah, that's like a daily task to be done there. You see, that was just one of the many batches of trash that we got out of the water there, and for those of you who are going to give me a comment about, yeah, did you actually burn that trash? Yes, we did burn the trash, which brings us to our next problem, is that there's just, you know, there's trash. What happens to the trash if we throw it away? Well, basically it ends up in the desert and comes back into the water. So, yeah, we still have a lot of work to do there on getting this trash removal and where it finally ends up under control. So a lot of work there, above water, but also underwater. And the underwater work, so the volunteers. Here a couple of more pictures on the Red Sea Marine Academy. So a lot of maintenance still to be done. This is basically where I'm stuck at for the moment with the Marine Academy, and is basically, you know, like having the tools to work and to be able to, be able to, you know, maintain everything correctly and how it should be. So yeah, hopefully with this financial support of some donors and fundraising that we're starting now, we'll be able to very soon get the activity a bit going into the direction that we want. I mean, you know, in the end you keep on cleaning and cleaning, but what we really want to do now is getting stuff maintained, getting these boats operational and safe and in order, and yeah, that's basically where we stand. But I mean, so far so good. A good understanding with the faculty and the academics there, and quite happy that we're there. So things just take a lot more time than, you know, if you're working in a commercial environment like I've been used to before. And here we see Olivier learning the compressor and swimming with a bucket. Well, at least he brought the bucket back. Okay, so let's go on. It's about let me see. Here we go. Let me see. Who's funding these protection projects? Hi Bashir, thanks for joining the live stream. So, who's funding these protection projects? Well, currently, basically, our work is being funded by ourselves and with some fans and followers. That's why I've been trying to reach out and to other foundations and other institutions to get a bit more financial support, so we can, get a bit better and more work done towards protection or sustainable development, as is our mission parameter. So currently, until end of last year, this was privately funded by myself firstly, and first and foremost, and then some friends and fans and followers of my page and my activities. Olivier, what were you doing with that bucket, by the way? Philip, your question: have you been in touch with these people and cooperation? Well, again, Philip, there is so much what we want to do, but we're just, a bit, we're a bit restricted by our capacities. But eventually now we're on the lookout for a scientific advisor, which is going to come and help us out here on the Go Blue program, and some of the scientific programs that we're starting, like the biodiversity restoration project for Wingate, Sanganep, and some projects that we're trying to run into in the Dunguneb area. But we've just started the recruiting, and and we're fundraising at the same time. So very soon we'll be able to outreach to universities across the world. I mean, we've already got some in contact with some, but my task here is to create the infrastructure for us to be able to work, and that's where I'm still a bit hampered. So first I need to put this infrastructure in order, boats, accessories, training of the people, so that we can do our marine activities safely and correctly, and then we can expand on bringing more staff and more support, and and then really start launching these projects. Okay. Again, I apologize a bit for the disorganized live stream tonight. I mean, I really ran out of time. There was some amazing big power cuts, and the house where I'm staying for the moment has no generator. It's a huge mansion, but no generator. So once there's power cuts, I'm pretty much restricted on what I can do. And there was a power cut here for a few hours before the live stream, right in the time that I needed to have access to my computer. So before I close off, obviously I want to remind everyone that what we're doing here is entirely non-profit. I mean, the Operati mission states it, and we are dependent on the support of you, whoever's watching, whoever is following our developments here. And so if you have $5 or $10, don't hesitate to put them. And so now let me just show you where you can find a lot. All this, sorry, but this is how it goes. So here I'm back again. Now we're going to release this, and little bit smaller here. And here we go. Thanks, Philip, for joining, and you stay safe wherever you are. I think you're in Asia these days, so stay safe. And if you have any help for us, don't hesitate, as you always do. So for those of you that are still interested in getting a lot more information, I mean, we've been working really hard on putting as much information as we could on our website, the oceanroamers.biz. That's ocean and roamers.biz, and but there you can see basically our projects, which campaigns we're running, and what we are doing with Operate Sea. So Operate Sea is an entire plan based on Go Blue. It's about 10 years of work that I'm putting into application here in the Red Sea. It's trying to remedy to the failures of conservation. And those of you that are irked when I say failures of conservation, we can say it as it is. We fail in conserving our nature, and it is time to embrace the sea again as a source of prosperity. We just lost this feeling somehow. So you can find all the information about the Operate Sea, what we're about, which projects and which missions we're running. The projects are here as well. So the reef mooring system we're working on, the RSMA, Red Sea Marine Academy Experimental Research Center, is one of our active projects. And then Go Blue Red Sea, which is our biodiversity restoration and a vault project. You can find all the information there, but just by clicking these links. You can also see some work that was done in the past. As I told you before, where I was working with in the marine parks already way back in 2006. We did some expeditions at the time. You can find these expeditions on our website as well. These are the only real expeditions that have been done in the last 10 years. You can also see the press releases. And before I forget, I wanted to reach out to the NAUI boys in Holland. Thank you very much for that donation and setting us up with NAUI courses, first of all for the dive club of the Red Sea Marine Academy. And thank you very much for that donation. It's really appreciated, and very soon I'll upload some more pictures. So the press releases are there where you can see what we're doing in Port Sudan, and then there is also obviously more information about the projects that we have. So on the projects, for instance, when we just look at the Red Sea Marine Academy, you can really find everything there. You can find the concept, you can find the presentation, which was one of the live streams I did in the past, where it's located, the vision, the SWOT, the phases, fundraising, all is there. Or for instance, the marine biology project that we had as well, the biodiversity restoration project, which I uploaded a few days ago. Here you can really see really what we want to run here. So for the moment we're working on phase 1, which outputs we're going to be creating, and obviously also the budget overview, which we need to really get these projects under there. So the idea really is to have everything on the website, which we're still updating daily. I've been spending night and day on putting everything what's happened on the website, so don't hesitate to go there. And also I have to reach out. I've never been one to ask money. I hate asking money. I've always, my grandfather always said, either your hand is like this or your hand is like this. And well, my hand's like this. So no, we really need your support. 5 euros, 2 euros, 10 euros, whatever you can muster, please don't hesitate. 5 euros gets us fed for a day, for both Olivier and I. And €50 gets us through the week, basically, just already food. So, all right. So here you can see why you should donate, and you can also see our latest supporter. Special reach out to Sylvie Neidendorf, Rick Veldman, Lucas, and so many more that have been supporting us, but we just need a lot more. So yeah, I want to buy my car, right? No, I'm joking. No, I mean, we've raised approximately €1,000, and the rest is being like in donations, in stuff, in inventory. So we need a lot more, and don't hesitate to make a small donation. You can do it easily by credit card, or even by wire transfer if you're located in the States, or on EU wire transfer. Everything's here. If you prefer to support one of the other projects, we have all our projects here. They've just been uploaded since a few days, so now it's really all there, and I hope we can count on your support. So let me see if there's some more questions in the chat. Okay, all right, so that's it for now. So anyway, what you have to take from today's live stream is, one, we're well on our way, and we've been received quite positively in Khartoum. However, the current situation in the country overshadows a bit what we're trying to do here, and it's understandable. But you know, like I said, the embassies and the people we've been meeting so far were very positive about our work there, and very grateful to what we're doing. Secondly, what you need to not forget is that the IADP, which is the structure, the official structure under which we're running these projects, is now finally in the last stages of legalization. So give and take another few weeks, and we'll be officially registered, and obviously I'll keep you updated, and I'll probably shed a tear once we do. Red Sea Marine Academy and the Biodiversity Project are underway, and they need your support, as do we need your support. So again, one more time, don't hesitate to do a small donation. It will be really, really appreciated by our team of volunteers and myself, obviously. This constant fear, financial fear, is obviously quite tough, and I wish I wouldn't have this anymore, and that we can just run our project correctly. But you know, things will come in time. And that's pretty much it. And also that I'm going to be live streaming every week now, hopefully every week on Sunday, Central African time, 8 p.m. If I'm not there at 8 p.m., it means that, you know, there's a problem with the internet, so just be patient. I'd like to thank all the volunteers, everyone who's been supporting, especially Olivier, especially Didier, Cedric, Marian, Fritz, Miroslav, and so many more. And obviously our friends in Port Sudan, the volunteers in Port Sudan, Khaled, Ali, and Tahar. So out of the name of all the volunteers, and I thank you for watching. And please don't hesitate to continue sending me questions by PMs, or through the page, or through mail, and I'll answer them in our next live stream. So until next week, thanks very much, and be safe, and catch you on the flip side.